All right, how's everybody doing today? Today I want to talk about the Konica Hexanon 135mm f3.5, the later version. This version was introduced at some point in the late 1970s, I believe roughly 1978, and it is smaller and lighter than the versions which preceded it. Konica Hexanon lenses are outstanding quality, but they are not small or light. And I would say they were roughly on the same order of magnitude in terms of size and weight as the Canon FD lenses with the breech lock mount. They're about that in terms of bulk and size and form factor and so forth. So by the late 1970s, the trend in photography was towards smaller, lighter, more compact cameras and lenses. And so Konica attempted to downsize a number of its lenses, including the 135. And this is an example of that. So this version can be distinguished from the earlier versions by, first of all, the smallest aperture is f/22, as you can see right there. And also the collapsible lens hood, which you can see right here. Excuse me, the collapsible lens hood right there. The question is, what are you getting for your money? These lenses on today's secondhand market are readily available, they're easy to find, and they are very inexpensive. You can find these things in near mint condition for just peanuts. So the question is, are they worth picking up? And the answer is, maybe. One of the great things about collecting Konica cameras and Hexanon lenses in particular is the quality of the Hexanon lenses. The Hexanons were just outstanding lineup of lenses, and there's some real standouts in the Hexanon lineup. The 40mm f1.8 is a unique and fantastic lens. I'll do a video on this in the near future. Likewise, the 50mm f1.7. This is an absolutely phenomenal lens. I've been using it recently, and I've been really happy with the results. I did not used to have one of these back in the day when I had a larger Konica collection, but this is just a fantastic lens. Even the more budget, not really budget, but the earlier 52mm f1.8. I did a separate video on this. Don't count this one out. These things are basically used as body caps. They're just because they're overshadowed by the 1.7. But this is also a fine lens with nice character to it. They really don't count it out. So there are quite a few really nice lenses in the Konica line. This is just I have a very modest Konica collection at this point. But there's some really standout lenses in the Konica lineup, and this ain't one of them. So if you're looking for a really nice 135, if you're Konica, I would encourage you to get the either the f3.2 or f2.5 version. The f2.5 is pretty big and heavy. The f3.2 is bigger than this one, but it's not unreasonably so. Even the downsized version is not exactly. We're not talking about Olympus, size and weight here. So let's compare it to this is a Nikkor 135/35, which would have been a contemporary of this lens, and the Nikkor is slightly smaller, although the size is roughly comparable. Although to my eye, it appears that the Nikkor is a little bit smaller. Here's the pre-AI Nikkor right here. And again, they're just the Hexanon was not a small lens to begin with. So when they downsized it downsized to about the size of a Nikkor, basically. So my experience with this lens recently, I have been using it quite a bit, and it's okay. I would say that at intermediate apertures and by intermediate distances, it achieves an acceptable degree of mediocrity. For close up at wide aperture, it's virtually useless. It's just too soft. If you're opening it up to wide aperture, to maximum aperture, and you want for portrait work, I did one portrait shoot with this lens, and I took some images. They were full body shots at wide open aperture, and they were reasonably sharp. and the bokeh was okay. It was certainly acceptable. But then I tried to do some more close-up work, like some flowers and so forth. Not exactly macro, but but close-up work, getting in as close as I could, which is about 1.5 meters on this lens. And at close focusing distances, this certainly a wide aperture, this lens is it's really soft, and it's not soft in a neat way. Like some lenses are soft, but they sort of have they're soft in a way that I don't know, just have sort of a sense of character to them. Or this is just mushy, just yuck soft. It's not nothing that I could recommend it really. I would say that again that at intermediate distances and by intermediate apertures, this lens is reasonably sharp, and the image quality is mediocre, maybe a little bit better than mediocre, but I just can't give a real ringing endorsement to this thing. I would say that the only reason to buy one is if you really just feel like you need the 135 just to have a telephoto in the bag, then sure, pick one up, but be conscious that you're getting what you pay for. If you want, I would recommend, because the f3.2 and f2.5 versions of the 135, they're not rare, but they're not always easy to find. I did a separate video on this lens, and it's just fantastic for portrait work in the field, at least. This is the 200 millimeter 3.5, and these things are not expensive because, well, they're not small, but man, these things are not expensive, and the image quality is just phenomenal, and it's got nice character and beautiful bokeh and nice, even at wide open aperture, the center sharpness is perfectly workable for portrait. And when it is soft in a way that it has some character. I don't know. I wish I could find a better vocabulary to describe that. But those of us who collect classic lenses, the difference between just plain bleh, soft and mushy, and softness with character. And this has wide open aperture. When it is soft, it is soft with a I don't know, in a better way. Again, this is all my subjective impression, but I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. I'm no optical expert, but again, if you collect classic lenses, I think you know what I'm talking about. I've been really impressed with the 51.7 so far. I did a portrait shoot with this recently, and again, at wider apertures, it has a softness with a nice character to it. Different. I shot it side by side with a couple of Nikkor 50s, and you can tell the difference. It's just a nice lens. Whereas this is just sort of meh. It's probably as good as anything offered by Canon or Minolta of the period. It's probably better than a third-party lens, though I can't say for sure because I don't collect third-party lenses. I'd sooner buy one of these than say a Vivitar or a Sigma or something like that. Frankly, I just don't know why anybody collects third-party lenses from that period. They're just, well, I don't want to get off on a digression about that topic because there are people who do, and I don't want to. I'm not trying to alienate anybody, so. I'm just thoroughly lukewarm about this 135-35. There was an earlier version of the 135-35. Apparently, there was a different optical formula. I believe they're both 4 elements and 4 groups, but I believe that I don't think that the elements were all identically shaped or ground or whatever. I think that the earlier version does have an optical difference, and I have not tried it. My understanding is that the earlier 135-35 was discontinued in the early 70s in favor of the 3.2 version, I think. And then this was reintroduced in the late 70s. Also be aware, if you're shopping for 135-35s for your Konica, there is a separately branded lens called the Hexar, Hexar. Those lenses were not made by Konica. Those are the rebranded third-party lenses, and those were Konica's budget line of the period. It's kind of like Minolta had its Celtic line, and Nikon had its Series E line. But I believe that at least Minolta and Nikon made their own lenses. The Celtics were made by Minolta, and the Series E were made by Nikon. I'm pretty sure about that. In fact, I'm virtually positive about that. Whereas the Konica Hexars were made by a third-party manufacturer. There's some speculation online that it may have been Tokina or Tamron. Not really sure, but not Konica. So be aware of that. Again, I do not collect third-party lenses from this period. So I just don't. I'm not trying to alienate anybody. I know there are those who do. I know there are people who think there's some needles in that haystack, but I do not. I don't bother. Okay, so that's about all I've got for you on the 135-35. If you're going to buy one, you just be aware you are getting what you pay for and no more. Well, no more, no less. I mean, again, but if you close it down and by intermediate distances, it's fine. You know, it's okay for general purpose telephoto work, but not for portraiture. I would not buy one of these things if you're doing portraiture, and you want to shoot, you know, wide open at close distance. I would not recommend it for that. I will put a link down below to my Flickr album where you can see the totally unremarkable pictures I've taken with this lens, and you know, maybe inform your own opinion. And if you do buy one, it's not like you're spending a whole lot of money. You know, it's not much of an investment if you care to make your own mistake in that regard. Okay, that's all I got for you today. I hope you found this video either informative or amusing, or perhaps a little bit of both. And if you did, then please do like and subscribe and check out the links below. Take care now. Thank you. Bye-bye.